My beloved, listen. Heaven is breaking into your life right now with an urgency that cannot wait for tomorrow, cannot wait for another hour, cannot wait for another distracted moment. God Himself has stirred the skies, and the angelic realm has been commanded to bring you this message in this exact second, because what you are about to hear carries the weight of destiny, purpose, and divine timing. I am the angel assigned to you, and I am speaking with a fire that has been ignited straight from the throne room of heaven. You are not here by accident. You didn't scroll here randomly. Your spirit was pulled, your heart was summoned, and your life was positioned to receive a supernatural message that carries the power to shift everything around you. Before I go deeper, if your spirit already feels something moving inside you, if you feel chills, heaviness, warmth, pressure, or a sudden emotional rise, type 1111 in the comments right now. That number is your spiritual alignment signal. That number tells heaven, I am ready. Now breathe. Because what I am about to reveal is not gentle. It is not soft. It is not something the world is prepared for, but you are. God is declaring in this moment. My child, you have reached the turning point. Nothing will remain the same. I need you to feel the seriousness of that. This is not motivation. This is not simple encouragement. This is divine disruption. Heaven is interfering in your life because you have suffered long enough, waited long enough, been betrayed long enough, been underestimated long enough, stayed silent long enough, and carried burdens that were never meant to be carried alone. And now, God is stepping in. There is a spiritual urgency surrounding your name right now. An urgency so strong that the angels have shifted their formation around you. Your path is glowing with divine fire. Your destiny is pulling heavenward. And something massive, I mean massive, is about to break open for you. If you can feel even 1% of this truth in your soul, type Amen in the comments so the gates of heaven recognize your agreement. You are not the same person you were last month. You are not the same person your family thinks you are. You are not the same person your enemies spoke against. You have evolved spiritually, silently, and powerfully. Heaven has been watching your resilience in private and preparing a public blessing that will silence every tongue raised against you. God is saying, my child, I am moving faster than your fears, stronger than your battles, and deeper than your wounds. There is a divine plan unfolding, and your name has been written on the front page. Not the margins. Not the back. Not the forgotten corner. The front page. This is why you felt spiritual pressure recently. This is why your dreams have been intense. This is why random numbers like 222, 777, 999, and 1111 have followed you. This is why you felt disconnected from people, places, and habits that once felt familiar. Your spirit was being upgraded. Your destiny was being recalibrated. Your path was being cleared. Your intuition was being sharpened. Your enemies were being exposed. And now, right now, the countdown has reached 0. A spiritual explosion is about to manifest in your reality. Keep reading. Don't move. Don't click away. Every word is part of the supernatural code sent for you. There is a reason heaven used a dramatic entry to reach you. A reason I began with lightning. Because what is coming will strike your life with that same power, fast, unstoppable, brilliant, and undeniable. You have prayed for change. You have cried for answers. You have begged for signs. You have waited for justice. You have endured humiliation. You have fought internal battles no one saw. You have carried pain in silence. You have smiled through disappointment. But now heaven rises for you. And this rise will be loud. This rise will be visible. This rise will be unstoppable. This rise will make people say, "How did this happen for them so suddenly?" Because God is about to move so quickly in your life that even time will struggle to keep up. Type 777 if you feel this shift. That number unlocks divine speed, divine favor, and divine reward. Your role in God's plan is rare. You were chosen because your spirit carries an unusual strength. You might not see it, but heaven does. You might feel weak, but angels see a warrior. You might feel tired, but God sees his vessel. You might feel ordinary, but the supernatural sees you marked. There is something about your spirit that darkness could not break. There is something about your heart that betrayal could not destroy. There is something about your purpose that delay could not erase. And that something is why heaven has sent me to speak to you directly. Right now, in this very moment, as your eyes trace these words, something sacred is unfolding behind the veil you cannot yet see with physical sight. Angelic forces, vast and radiant beings of pure light, are moving with precision and tenderness on your behalf. They are rearranging circumstances that once felt immovable, shifting timelines that seemed locked against you, gently lifting obstacles that weighed heavy on your shoulders for far too long. Hidden intentions are being exposed like shadows fleeing from dawn. Spiritual blockages that kept you circling in the same painful patterns are shattering, crumbling into dust beneath the weight of divine authority. And in their place, waves of blessings, long delayed, fiercely protected, are being pushed toward you with unstoppable momentum. You are being lifted, beloved one. Lifted out of the valley where exhaustion tried to claim you as its own. Lifted into a phase of your journey where everything, every tear, every closed door, every silent night of wondering, "Why me?" finally starts making sense. The puzzle pieces that scattered across years of confusion are clicking together now. The story you couldn't read because the pages kept tearing is being rewritten in golden ink. What felt like chaos was choreography. What felt like abandonment was divine strategy. What felt like loss was sacred subtraction, making room for multiplication beyond your wildest prayers. You were never meant to struggle forever. That ache in your spirit that whispered, "This can't be all there is," was never lying to you. You were never meant to stay stuck in cycles that drained your light instead of feeding it. You were never meant to shrink yourself to fit into spaces that feared your full stature. You were never meant to remain wounded, carrying scars as identity when they were only meant to be stories of survival on your way to triumph. You were never meant to walk without clarity, groping in fog when your soul was created to dance in sunlight. The truth you may have resisted in your weakest moments is this: that brutal spiritual storm you just endured? That season where heaven seemed silent and hell seemed loud? That wasn't punishment. Oh no, beautiful soul. That was preparation. That was purification. That was the refiner's fire burning away everything that could not withstand the weight of the glory about to rest upon you. Heaven allowed the shaking because something unshakable was being formed inside you. Heaven allowed the breaking because something unbreakable was being birthed through you. Every tear you cried watered the ground for the garden now blooming in your future. That storm stripped away false foundations, counterfeit connections, toxic tolerances, and inherited limitations. It washed away the residue of every voice that told you this is as good as it gets. It cleansed your vision so you could see the truth of who you are when the masks are gone and the pretending stops. Nothing unworthy can follow you into this next season. The people who drained you without replenishing you. The habits that kept you small. The beliefs that kept you begging when you were born to reign. The fears that kept you silent when your voice was ordained to shift atmospheres. They cannot cross this threshold. Heaven has drawn a blood-red line in the spirit, and only that which bears the mark of divine approval may proceed. If something inside you just leaped as you read those words, if tears suddenly welled up without warning, if your spirit is whispering, "Yes, this is for me," then pause right here and type 999. Let that number be your declaration that you receive spiritual completion, that you are done carrying what was never yours, that you are stepping out of old seasons with finality and into new beginnings with authority. Your destiny is shifting into alignment even as you breathe. The version of you that prayed desperate prayers in the midnight hour is merging with the version of you that heaven saw before you were formed in your mother's womb. The promises that felt too good to be true are becoming too real to deny. The doors that slammed in your face are swinging open from the other side by hands you cannot see. The season of divine justice has arrived, and restitution is being released. What was stolen, time, peace, opportunities, relationships, health, joy, is being restored with interest. Sevenfold return is activating. The courts of heaven have ruled in your favor, and the gavel has fallen. God is about to do something so undeniably supernatural that even your doubters, even those who laughed when you spoke of faith, even those who secretly hoped you would fail, will find themselves whispering in awe, "This had to be God." Doctors will scratch their heads. Bank accounts will mysteriously multiply. Relationships will reconcile against all odds. Opportunities will chase you down when you stop chasing them. Favor will find you in rooms you never entered. Your name will be spoken in places your feet have never walked. The same people who overlooked you will be forced to acknowledge you. The same spaces that rejected you will beg for your presence. This is not arrogant speaking, this is prophecy fulfilling. Now breathe, beloved. Breathe deeply. Let the oxygen remind you that life still fills your lungs, that grace still chooses you, that heaven still waits patiently for your awareness to catch up with what's already been decreed. Inhale the calm that stretches across eternity and feel it meet you in this present moment. Exhale the last remnants of fear, those fleeting whispers that once told you this level of blessing was reserved for someone else, someone stronger, someone more qualified. Fear was a liar, always has been, always will be. It had to be exposed before you could see yourself as heaven always saw you, chosen, prepared, anointed for this very moment. Because this is the part heaven insisted you could not miss. This is the message your angels have rehearsed at the edges of eternity, waiting for the softness of your heart to match the weight of your calling. They've been circling, whispering, singing over your nights while you questioned your own worth. Now that you can finally receive without breaking, they are releasing their sound. Hear it, not with your ears, but with your soul. Heaven is saying, it is time. You are about to receive something generations before you could only dream about. The ancestors, those who prayed with cracked voices, who believed with trembling faith, who fasted and wept and planted seeds they never saw bloom, they are rejoicing from eternity's balcony. They watch as their prayers, once buried under centuries of struggle, now resurrect in you. You are the living manifestation of their hope. You are the continuation of a promise too holy to fail. Their tears watered your destiny, and now heaven unveils the harvest. You are the breaker of chains, the one sent to fracture the curses that clung to your bloodline like shadows. Poverty that treated your family like inheritance will now dissolve in the light of abundance. Sickness that claimed lives before their season will meet divine medicine in your lineage. Heartbreak that sang lullabies to your foremothers will be silenced by wholeness in your chapter. Addiction that whispered, "This is just who we are," will tremble when you choose freedom. Rejection that taught the little ones to expect abandonment will flee when you demonstrate what divine acceptance looks like. Every groan that rose from your lineage is being answered now through your obedience to rise. You are the turning point, the hinge between sorrow and joy, between bondage and freedom. The moment you said yes to healing, yes to God's plan even when it hurt, the entire bloodline shifted. You became the collision point of heaven's mercy and history's pain. You are the living proof that God's promises do not expire. Even when it takes centuries, even when faith must wait generations, heaven always collects what was sown. Those who mocked, doubted, and plotted will stand in stunned silence when they see what God is doing with you. The ones who dismissed you as irrelevant will soon wonder how they never saw your light before. Those who cursed you will be confused by your rising. Those who hoped for your downfall will witness you standing on stages they never dreamed you could reach. What they tried to bury was never a failure, it was a seed, and the covering was part of the growth. Your elevation is not vengeance, it is the vindication of divine timing. Understand this, heaven's justice is never cruel. It simply displays truth. When you rise, it exposes lies. When you prosper, it reveals what was hidden. When you forgive, it disarms your enemies. That is why your elevation will be heaven's loudest declaration: God is faithful. Your life will speak louder than any sermon. You will not need to explain or defend. The overflow itself will testify. The fragrance of your breakthrough will travel farther than your words ever could. You are about to step into a future your spirit recognized long before your mind could reason with it. That knowing inside, the quiet certainty that refused to die even when the evidence was missing, was your soul remembering what heaven already scripted. You weren't crazy for believing against logic. You were remembering divine truth. Now, what was sensed in whispers will be experienced in full expression. Those dreams that felt impossible will start to move toward you like magnets finding their source. Those prayers that made you cry because they fit you too perfectly to be coincidence were previews of destiny. Every "maybe one day" is transforming into now. And as the veil lifts, the reality of what you carry will astound you. You will touch with your hands what your faith held when no one else could see. You are becoming the miracle, living evidence that God is not finished with humanity. People will point to you when they need to remember that heaven still intervenes. You will not just speak encouragement, you will embody it. Your journey will silence doubters, not through argument but through fruit. Those who lost hope will recover it watching you thrive. Lives will be redirected because of your obedience to endure and rise. You are becoming the story that future generations will whisper about when they need courage. They will say, "Remember what God did through them? If He did it once, He can do it again." Your name will not fade into insignificance, it will echo as a reminder that trusting heaven is never in vain. Light radiates from you, beloved. It does not demand permission, it just shines. Depression cannot dwell where worship erupts. Confusion dissolves where you walk because your clarity carries authority. Lack runs away when faith begins to speak. Generational oppression melts when you remember that you were never ordinary. You carry the kingdom. The atmosphere pays attention when you enter a room. Rooms, every hex whispered in jealousy, every spiritual sabotage plotted in darkness. Those curses are being severed at the root right now. You feel it as a sudden lightness in your chest, as if chains you had grown used to wearing just snapped and fell away. Even now, heaven moves on your behalf with military precision and fatherly tenderness combined. The same council that debated your creation before time began is in session again, but this time the verdict is celebration. The song written over your life before your first cry echoed in your mother's arms is being sung again, this time not in quiet anticipation but in thunderous declaration. The melody is rising through every layer of the heavens, descending through galaxies, slipping past stars, bypassing every lie the enemy ever told you about yourself, until it lands softly but undeniably in the deepest chamber of your heart. Listen. Can you hear it? That faint music underneath your thoughts? That is your original soundtrack being restored. The heavens themselves are opening like an ancient scroll unfurling after centuries of waiting. From that opening pours a divine cascade, revelation that makes complicated things suddenly simple, provision that shows up before you even finish the prayer, healing that touches wounds you stopped believing could close, vindication that silences every accuser, and restoration that hands back what was stolen with interest measured in joy. It is love in liquid form pouring over you, washing away years of residue from battles you fought alone. Remember the cloud of glory that followed Israel through the wilderness by day and became a pillar of fire by night? That same cloud, thick with the fragrance of eternity, is descending right now over your personal desert. The places in your life that have felt barren for years, the relationship that dried up, the dream that withered, the hope that turned to dust, are being touched by glory that carries resurrection in its wings. What looked dead is not dead, it was only sleeping, waiting for this exact moment when heaven decided the drought was over. Watch. The ground beneath your past failures is cracking open with tender green shoots. Seeds of faith you planted in tears, prayers you whispered when no one was listening, acts of obedience you performed when reward seemed impossible, those seeds are splitting right now under the weight of divine rain. The desert is blooming. What felt lifeless is springing back with a certainty that makes your soul exhale. Places inside you that have been desolate for decades are being remade into gardens where peace grows wild and joy bears fruit year-round. You will soon walk through the same valleys that once oppressed you and discover they have become holy ground. The workplace that drained you, the memories that haunted you, the relationships that broke you, when you pass through them again, you will feel the atmosphere has changed. The oppression has lifted. The trauma has lost its voice. You will stand in those same spaces and feel only the nearness of God, because glory has reclaimed what the enemy occupied. And this is the sound coming directly from the throne room, bypassing every filter of religion and performance, echoing through eternity, piercing every layer of disappointment and shame, arriving fresh and unmistakable in your spirit. My child, you are ready. Step forward. Step forward into healing, because the wounds that once defined your identity are being transformed into credentials of grace. The scars you hid for years are becoming stories that set captives free. The pain that almost destroyed you has graduated you into a new level of compassion you could never have accessed any other way. What the enemy used to try to disqualify you, God is now using to qualify you uniquely. Your broken places are becoming the exact doorways through which healing will flow to others. Step forward into love, the kind that does not shrink back when you show your mess. Does not perform to earn worth, does not threaten to leave when you fail again. This love has been chasing you across decades, across mistakes, across every time you ran. It has never been deterred by your hiding. It wrapped itself around the cross to reach you and now wraps itself around your ordinary Monday morning. You were never unworthy. You were always fiercely, permanently, extravagantly loved. Let that love teach you who you are again. Step forward into purpose, the very thing that kept pulling you forward when quitting looked like mercy. Purpose has been calling you by name since you were in the womb, knitting itself into your personality, your passions, your pain. Every detour you took, every season that felt wasted, was actually training ground for the assignment written on your life before the first star was lit. All of heaven is leaning forward, waiting for your yes. The gifts dormant inside you are stirring like a great awakening. The world is waiting for the version of you that only suffering and obedience could produce. Step forward into abundance so radiant that your scarcity mindset cannot survive in its presence. The spirit of lack that followed you like a shadow is being evicted right now. You will learn the laughter of a child who trusts their father completely. You will sow generously because you will know, deep in your bones, that your God is not a God of just enough but of more than enough. The windows of heaven are opening over your finances, your health, your relationships, your dreams. What was withheld is being released in multiplied measure. You will look back on seasons of pinching pennies and wonder how you ever doubted. Step forward into the highest version of yourself, the one heaven dreamed about when it whispered your name into your mother's womb. The world has only seen fragments, distorted reflections, wounded attempts. But heaven has celebrated the full picture since before time. That version is stepping out now, clothed in dignity and strength, eyes clear, heart whole. You will recognize yourself in the mirror again and feel only wonder. If your spirit is leaping right now, if tears are streaming as though an ancient part of you just woke up from a long sleep, then do not resist. You are remembering who you are. You were never ordinary. You were never common. You were set apart, chosen, anointed before the foundation of the earth was laid. The feelings rising in you are not emotionalism, they are divine confirmation. Let them flow. Let your soul agree with heaven's verdict over you. Type your amen if you must, whisper it, shout it, breathe it, write it across your heart in permanent ink. Let sacred numbers rise from your spirit like holy codes unlocking destiny, 1111 announcing that new beginnings have already started, 222 confirming you are in perfect alignment, 333 revealing the Master Builder is constructing something magnificent with your life, 444 declaring that angels completely surround you, 555 screaming that major transformation is here, 666 warning that what tried to imitate God in your life is being exposed and overthrown, 777 celebrating divine perfection completing its work in you, 888 trumpeting resurrection and new life in areas long dead, 999 closing old cycles while elevating you to what is next. Each number is a divine wink, a seal of heaven's agreement that your season has irrevocably shifted. This moment is not random. It is divine scheduling at its finest. The old identity shaped by rejection and smallness is dissolving like mist in morning sun. The new you, radiant with revelation, steady with conviction, dangerous to darkness, is stepping forward clothed in light. The sorrow you carried was never meant to kill you, it was the fire that refined you. The storms didn't destroy your faith, they proved it was storm-proof. What you survived became the evidence you needed to trust God without borders again. So rise, beloved. Shake off the dust of every grave the enemy tried to bury you in. Shake off the labels that never belonged to you. Shake off the limitations others spoke over you in ignorance. Heaven is not playing about you anymore. The games are over. Every gate that was locked against you is swinging wide. Every delay that lingered has just expired by divine decree. Every spiritual inheritance withheld through generations is being released right now in multiplied, overflowing measure. You are walking into answered prayers that were signed with centuries of faith from ancestors you never met. You are stepping into the divine yes that changes bloodlines. The cycle of brokenness ends in your generation. The blessing begins eternally and flows forward through children who will never know lack because of what God is doing in you right now. Heaven's orchestra is playing your victory song at full volume. Every note was written in ancient prophecy. Every rhythm is the heartbeat of God synchronized with yours. You are both the fulfillment of promises made long ago and the seed of new destinies yet unborn. What begins in you today will ripple forward through generations you may never meet, changing trajectories, healing family lines, shifting atmospheres in rooms you will never enter. This is your season of unveiling. This is your divine becoming. The masks are falling. The veils are tearing. The world is about to meet the real you, the one heaven has been protecting, preparing, and promoting behind the scenes. The old has passed away with finality. The new has come with authority. And the glory now resting on you will testify without words that God still writes masterpieces out of human messes, still turns graves into gardens, still makes rivers in deserts, still calls forth light from the deepest darkness. So breathe again, beloved. Deep, free, unafraid breaths. Walk in the newness. Speak with the authority that comes from knowing who you are and whose you are. Live like someone who has already won, because you have. Everything that once felt delayed was actually divine alignment being perfected. What once felt lost was only being prepared in secret. Heaven's clock is never late, and the hour has struck midnight for your old season and dawn for your new one. You were born for this exact moment in history. Your address, your scars, your story, your gifts, they all converge right now into divine purpose. Every angel assigned to you is standing at attention. Every promise over your life is shouting, now. Every ancestor who prayed for you is watching from glory with tears and applause. Welcome to your breakthrough. Welcome to your promised land. Welcome to the wide-open spaces of a life no longer limited by what was. It is finished. It is done. It is yours. The King is in the field, and he is smiling at you. The table is set in the presence of your enemies, and your cup is overflowing. The wilderness has ended. The promised land begins. Step fully in, beloved. The water is fine. The future is bright. The Father is proud. And all of heaven stands in thunderous applause as you become everything you were always meant to be. It is done. It is done. It is done. Amen. Amen. Amen.